They've been given license by the President of the United States.
I agree with this.
Now, there is no person on earth who has ever received the kind of media attention that Donald Trump has received. He is the most famous person in the world because we cover him multiple times a day. And no matter what he says, it goes out on the airwaves, people hear it, people read about it, and it gives many people around this country license. And what are the words? Well, words are weapons that the president uses. And in this case, it seems that the president of the United States wakes each and every day and confronts the day with the idea of dividing, taking an issue and using it to divide people. He does this every single day with multiple issues, but on this issue, which gets to the core of who we are, who lives, who dies, your children, everything. It's all right here in this one issue, and he uses the issue to really further divide the country, and people feel that they're licensed. They're entitled to try and do the same thing in state legislatures in Alabama, in Georgia, throughout the country because of one guy.
Yeah, and again, Eddie, it's all a scam. It's all a carnival act. This guy not only was pro-choice his entire life, he also supported gun control his entire life. And so now he's taking these cartoonish positions because, as I said all along, he's not a Republican. He's not a conservative. He's not a Buckley conservative. He's not an Edmund Burke conservative. He's not a Russell Kirk conservative. He's a guy that loves power, and he's exploiting these divides when he doesn't even believe it himself.
I think you're absolutely right, Joe. We might want to add he's also not an evangelical Christian as a source of motivation as well. Look, all the millions of women who marched right after his election, this sort of legislation will motivate them even more in 2020. That's the first thing. The second thing is that this is about, in some significant way, an attempt to control women's sexuality. And it's bound up with this desire to go back to an age, a time in the country when women were in their place and men could control their bodies and control their choices, to go back to a time where hierarchies were clear and people, men, held power and controlled the society. At the heart of this is in some ways a vision of this country that is dead. And we have people who are willing, I think you're right, Mike, who are willing to rend the garments of the country in order to go back to this period of time. At the end of the day, Joe, this is an attempt to control women. And we need to understand that for what it is. And I know that not only women, but those who stand in solidarity with them will resist this. And then lastly, let's think about the infant mortality rate in Alabama, the infant mortality rate in Louisiana, the infant mortality rate in Missouri. The babies who are here, who are alive, they don't want to take care of, but yet they want to show concern. It makes no damn sense. Excuse me.
And there are, Joe, of course, there are principled, smart women who argue in good faith against abortion, and I have great respect for a lot of them, because if you look at that third trimester number, I want to find it and be precise about it, only 13% of Americans, 13% support abortion being legal in the third trimester, including only 18% of Democrats. So there are people, we can talk about this, and it's not an issue that lends itself to a lot of nuance, but what we're talking about right in front of us, as Eddie says, is barbarism. We're talking about having to deliver the child of your attacker if you are raped, having to deliver the child of your uncle, God forbid, your father, if you are raped by them. Who, in good faith, can defend that?
And when that infant is born, these same people who insist on these punitive measures, these same people welcome that infant into a world where there is no social safety net.
That's right.
Where we're going to take away your food stamps. We're going to take away your health care. We're going to continue to let you to go to schools that are substandard. And good luck with your life.
Exactly.
Well, for so many of these people, unfortunately, they're pro-life until the point that the baby is born. And then they don't feel a responsibility to provide a social safety net for children who were born into terrible circumstances, that won't get the health care that they need, that won't get the preventative health care that they need, that won't get the head start that they need to be competitive with other people in their classes, that won't have the helping hand that's so important. But boy, the arm of government sure is reaching